I am Al Perkins from that way, from 54 Atlantic Avenue and thereabouts, Runnymede Farm and another farm. And I'm actually here, I just wanted to, I don't think I'll take up more than 3 minutes. If I need more than 3 minutes, which I prefer not to because I don't want to waste anyone's time, but my wife's here and she can acquiesce her 3 minutes if necessary to make it 6 or 4 or 5. But I'm here to set the record straight. I watched the last select board meeting and some comments, public comments that were made about the farm that we've restored on the old Lamprey property. And mostly the thing that bothered me the most, other than the lies and the deceit and irrational behavior about secret meetings with myself and members of the select board and commissions in town, the thing that bothered me the most was a comment about us putting contaminated soil on the property. And I can tell you nothing further from the truth than that, because we raise livestock on it, we grow crops, we eat everything that we grow there. Our friends, our family eat it, including the livestock. Some of them, not all of them, but they're in our freezer, and there's nothing that I can think worse to do than to have something edible on our property that is, consuming contaminated soil, whatever that may be. But I'm not sure what it was, what the gentleman was referencing. But I'm just here to let the people in the town know, taxpayers know, that we take great care, as we do at Runnymede and running a best practices farm, and we've never brought anything onto our property that would even remotely be considered contaminated. I also, while I had the time here, I wanted to just leave this with the select board. I'll leave 3 copies of this because it's easement language that we don't really have any need to bring it up, but it's a paragraph in it's critical easement language that Mr. Goslin continues to bring up in public meetings, that this the property was donated to the town, and it was not donated to the town. It was put into conservation mainly for several reasons, but in doing so, it gave him a tax consideration. And if you donate, there's several ways to have an easement, but this easement is not set up that way, and it left the commercial value of the property in place when you do it the way that they did it, and otherwise it would have no value whatsoever, and we wouldn't have paid it an enormous sum of money for the property if there was nothing that could be done with the property. It would be silly to do that. But the critical language, in addition to agricultural uses for it, it goes on to state land-based agricultural, conservation, or non-commercial outdoor recreational uses of the property. That's the key word here, that we never even bring up the recreational side that's stated in this easement. And if you go to the dictionary and you say look up recreation, it states that basically, I can tell you, it's activity that's done by someone when they're not working. So leave it to your imagination what could be done on that property that's non-commercial, recreational, and it's the sky's the limit.
Mr. Perkins, in order to be fair and in the way I've treated other people, if you have somebody else who would like to speak, because I'm just watching the clock.
Yep.
If you'd like to have somebody else come up and speak, or if that person would like to yield their time to you, which is what I've done in the past, then I'm fine with that, but I'm just trying to treat everybody fairly.
I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.
All right, I'm only going to use another minute. But anyway, the point is, our intent is to, and always has been, as it was and is with Runnymede, was to create a landmark that's here for the public to enjoy. This generation, generations beyond, it'll be there. And I just want to caution the taxpayers Mr. Goslin has cost this town thousands of dollars in legal fees already. And if his behavior continues, he can go down a path that would drag the town into basically a dead end at legal, and it'll cost tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars. It has the potential to. So I just caution everyone. I want to go on public record as stating that, and to be mindful of that. So with that, I will.
Yes.
Do I have any?
Thank you. We don't typically ask questions. Is it short?
Yes. Two things. Mr. Perkins, have you and I ever met to discuss the particulars of your easement situation?
Never.
Never. The barn that you have placed on that land has been described many times to this board as a party barn. Are your animals having parties in there?
They haven't invited me, and if they do, they're doing it very quietly.
So it's not a human party barn, but it may be an animal party barn.
Could be.
All right.
Livestock are known to do that.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else?
No, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Yes, I see another hand up.
2 Maple Road. I was sitting home earlier this evening and saw Mr. Perkins make some comments and asked a question about contaminated soil that I'd like to respond to. Contaminated soil, I wasn't mentioning with PCBs or arsenic or anything like that. This is a pristine conservation property. Anything foreign to the conservation property is considered contaminated. That's what I meant by contaminated soil. Before it was first grade alfalfa hay. Now it's all weeds. Although it's green, it's still weeds. You don't see any geese on the property anymore. But that's what I meant by contaminated. The improved easements were donated to the town, not the property itself, as Mr. Perkins stated. He does own the property, but the easements are the towns, the citizens of the towns, and you can see this on 03862watchdog.com under the Lamprey easements. The Perkins knew prior to the purchase of these easements belonged to the town and its visitors, not the Perkins. Mr. Perkins stated that the cost of the town would be tens of thousands of dollars. And it's because of my account. I don't know where he came up with that, but Alan and Donna Perkins filed a lawsuit in Superior Court to prevent their actions and intent for a party barn from being exposed in the last election. This was where the cost of a lawsuit came, not from me, but from the Perkins. I'm not aware of any statements bringing a lawsuit against the town, or as far as I know, haven't cost the town any money. Mr. Miller's questions tonight to Mr. Perkins, if there are any pies presently going on in the barn. In his letter of opinion, Attorney General Foster, and I hate to keep repeating myself, but it just keeps coming up. In his letter of opinion, Attorney Foster stated that if there's an issue that is brought before the board, it is the duty of the board to investigate. It is no secret to anybody in the Seacoast that this barn was going to be a party barn. It was told to me and many other people. And Mr. Miller said that he would talk to the people that were mentioned at a select board meeting, meaning the Perkins. And when questioned about his investigation, his reply was he did not investigate. If he investigated this properly, he would have found that the true answer that the party's intent is to be a party barn. This is about the town offices violating state laws so that the town citizens of Northampton will forfeit their gift of their easements to the conservation property for the benefit of one or two people who happen to be friends of Selectman Miller's. And I say friends of Selectman Miller's because one of the first parties that they had was in the barn on the western side, which they held numerous parties at. Mr. Miller was in attendance with his wife, and it was for neighbors and friends. My wife and I were in attendance as neighbors. We live across the street. Mr. Miller and his wife live miles away. I just wanted to respond to Mr. Perkins' statements tonight. Thank you very much.